Hey everyone, I'm going to show you today how easy it is to do lacing using Puzzle Tumblers mold and some epoxy, and we will be using the Armor Art white pigment. We were going to use some of the Tim Holtz Aquamarine. I have cleaned my board as much as it's going to let me clean it. I cleaned it with Dawn soap, and then I tried to clean out as much as I could with tape. So it's about as clean as it's going to get right now. I have one part of part A and one part of part B, 1-to-1 ratio of the Puzzle Perfect 25. This is mold casting epoxy. It cannot be used on cups. It is specifically for molds. It has a very fast setting time, so you really have a little bit of time to work with it. So once you start mixing it, get ready to go. I'm going to be putting some of my epoxy into 2 different cups, one for the lacing, one for the sand, and one for my water. Okay, pretty sure that's fairly mixed. Remember, you don't have a lot of working time, maybe half an hour. So honestly, you need to work with this as quickly as you can before it starts setting up. And then when it's done, you need to make sure to find a spot that is flat for you to put your project on. I did get a few things to go onto my sand. Once this is all done, I want to make sure that it's open. To Hobby Lobby, and I found some of these. Aren't they fun? And we're going to add that at the end, but I want to make sure that they're available for me. Now, I'll start by making... Yes, these molds do take quite a bit of epoxy, but in the long run, it is so worth it. Any epoxy that you have left over, obviously, you can go ahead and put those into another mold. I'm going to mix together the champagne and some of the Paris, which is her platinum glitter. Just so we have 2 different types of glitter to work with. That will go into this. Got a little bit of glitter on there. I didn't like that. Mix up our sand. Okay, put that aside. Now I'm going to mix up our water. And all I'm going to have in there is the alcohol ink because I want to be able to see through it. Add a little. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't take away. Very good. And finally, I'm going to mix our white. Now the white is going to be for our lacing. This is done with our pigment. Make sure it's shook up really well. It doesn't take much. And it also has to be open. Let me get my needle to poke through. Here we go. Well, haven't used it in a bit, so the hole in the top is crusted over. Worst comes to worst, we will just poke a hole in it just like this. Very good. Try that again. There we go. Once it's in there, it doesn't take much. I'll have to make sure that I work on getting this pigment out a little better. All right. Just like that. Doesn't take much, so my squeezing it in was actually probably a good thing. Good deal. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make the top part up here the water and the bottom part my sand. I think I'm going to add a little bit of my pigment powder to the sand to give it a little bit more gold look. This is from Puzzle Tumblers. It is the 14 karat gold, just to give it a little bit more color. Oh yeah, that's what I needed right there. So we have our sand and our water. We pour those together so that they meet in the center. And I don't want it completely full because once it's done, I'm going to top it with a little more epoxy. But I do want it on all edges. I'm going to make the top a little more full, but it's going to be full of clear epoxy. This aside, pull some of this in. May have to make some more of the blue, which is not a big deal because it would probably be really pretty. No, I think it'll be okay. I can make a little more blue, it doesn't hurt. I have the extra epoxy here. Add a little more blue to it, and then we will make our lacing. We'll wait a bit. Very good. Okay, now we're going to do our lacing. Now this is a lot of fun. You have to decide which way you want it to go. I'm going to have my lacing go up this way. This will help the epoxy to move around. I'm going to heat this up just a little and move it where it needs to go. Some of those bubbles out of there. See, as I'm doing this, the bubbles popping. Something under here. Okay. Now we're going to do our lacing, which is really fun. I don't know why there's a bubble under here, but I'm going to get it out. There we go. Much better. It had a bubble underneath the actual. Now here is what we do. You're going to take your white and pour it along the edge here. just like that. And then we're going to use our heat gun to push the white into the epoxy. And add our final little detail, and we let it set. Then we'll come back in a bit and we will add some more of the epoxy to the top, make it dome over. Here's our final detail. Very good. And I will see you back once this is hardened and we're getting ready to add our next detail to it.